Rachel DesRochers, your host of Kitchen Convos, and I am so excited to be at Cincinnati Wood Collaborative with owner David Bach. You guys, we're literally in their workplace. What are these called? Studios?
You're in our kitchen.
I'm in your kitchen.
All up in our wood kitchen.
Yeah, I like that. I am in your wood kitchen. And everybody's like, don't touch anything. It's so dusty. I'm like, yeah, because you guys are like busting your tails right now.
Yeah.
David, you were a restaurant guy, back of the house. Tell me everything that you've done prior to
I won't be able to hit everything, but some of the highlights, I guess. So I was a professional chef for 13-ish years, and let's see, going back in order, I was a sous chef at 21C Museum Hotel.
Yep.
I did executive catering for P&G. I worked for Boca Group at Boca and Nada. Worked for Rookwood Restaurant when it was up and going, Hugo Restaurant in Oakley for
quite a few of the heavy hitters in town.
Yeah, mostly fine dining places. A lot of the top 10 Cincinnati Magazine list restaurants, which is, kind of where I like to hang out.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah. What year did Cincinnati Wood Collaborative open?
2015.
So 3 years you've been doing this.
This week will be officially 3 years since moving into this spot and being a legit LLC. Yeah.
So I remember when you first started, you were making the coolest cutting boards and these super neat magnetic knife boards, right?
Yeah. And
that was kind of your I'm going to start here.
That's absolutely where I started, and I was making those in my garage before moving into here, and I sold a few and bought more tools with it, and then sold a few more, bought more tools, and then it got to the point where it's I need a legitimate shop, and I need
all my tools are in my living room, and I can't sit on my couch anymore.
They didn't overflow in the living room, thank God. But I wanted to get more tools, and
space.
The more tools that I brought, the higher the eyebrows of my wife got. What is that for? Wait, what
I'm gonna make you, darling?
Yeah. I'm sure she would still like that joke.
Yeah.
There's all this stuff. It's like a chef who doesn't cook at home.
What's for dinner? I don't know. What are you making?
Yeah. We have 2 things in my house that I've made, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's not a nicely decked out, furnished place.
It's a catalog. A catalog of Cincinnati Wood Co.
Yeah, it's like the some leftover pieces.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Bring some leftovers home.
We nicked the corner, so you get this.
Pretty much. Yeah. And let the kids test this.
My kids eat all the burnt grams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. People are like, "Do you have a bag on you?" I'm like, "No, I don't bring it home."
I know, that's weird. Who would do that?
Why? Go to the store like normal people. No, I know. It's one more thing.
Yeah.
It's one more thing. Why this? What for you did you want to leave the restaurant business? But you're still so much involved, so that's...
Yeah, we're just in a totally different aspect of the culinary community where we're able, we've kept the same network and still know all the same people, but are just a totally different portion of what it takes to get a restaurant done, So really, I kind of caught the bug, I guess, when I was opening up Django Western Taco in Northside.
Yeah,
and I was the opening chef there and was in helping their GC with building the deck and building some of these things to get open, and I was like, man, I like this stuff. I liked that stuff. And then stayed in the industry then for a few more years. Really it was, I needed to fix some stuff around the house and bought a small tool set to do that. Yeah. And it was just I just kind of opened my eyes to what's possible and what can be made. And it just really opened up a whole new avenue of creativity for me.
One of the things when I got here this morning, I asked if we could talk about was you're sober.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you feel that your sobriety has played a part into this new world you're creating for your life?
It has definitely given me a better grasp of my place in this, whole scheme of things.
Yeah.
So we were open for, the doors were open here for a year and a half before I got sober.
Awesome.
And so it was just one of those things, like it like carried over from being in restaurants. Like I definitely think working in restaurants fed that fire for a long time.
Because it's hard. It's hard work.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think that we skate over that conversation a lot because, one, it's hard to have. Mm-hmm. It's hard to talk about the expectations when you work for some of the largest top 10 restaurants, the pressure, the physical demand, the emotional demand, and how it takes a wear on you.
It definitely does. And it's an environment that is like, it's a pressure cooker, and they're doing it,
day in and day out for
70 hours
years.
A week for that long. I mean, and then you get into your routines in that world, and I mean, it's just you can find a lot of excuses to kind of get out of yourself in that environment.
It's easy, right?
It's really easy to do.
Yeah. And I think you're right. They're excuses, and we make them every day. Mm-hmm. It's hard to show up for ourselves, right? And like, especially as the owners, how we're showing up. And then as we're building a team, how we're supporting that team without excuses. And then all of a sudden, so what, you've been a year and a half, almost 2 years sober, and
almost a year and a half.
Yeah. And how that changes your leadership.
Yeah. It's changed a lot of things.
Yeah, let's talk about it. As much as you want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I mean, totally fine talking about it. It's just, the biggest thing that changed was, it didn't have to do directly, I think, with the business here. Like I said, it was kind of a carryover from like my routine and addictions that I procured along my way in restaurants. And it carried over into this in the way that, the pressure was definitely high. Here in this shop, because I set out to open this business, and 3 months after we opened, me and my wife found out we were having another baby.
Woo! Yeah.
So, and she was working full time at that point, and she was fully supportive of me getting into the business on my own.
Yep.
And just because of the position she was in, they were planning and did let her go from that job when she went.
There's nothing like financial pressure to make you stop and question everything.
Yeah. And I was questioning a lot of things at that point, and it was obvious to me that at that point that the addiction was running my life, because even when our daughter was born, that wasn't enough to make me stop at that point.
Yeah.
And so, I was living I was creating my own hell within all of this.
What was your stopping point? What was your breaking point?
Well, there was a night where I had, a drink or two at home, and which was not abnormal, nightly thing. And then went down. I was going to go get some smokes from the little corner bar by our place, because they've got one of those old timey cigarette machines.
Yeah.
And so stopped in and had a beer there, and literally like blacked out and woke up in my driveway face down in the gravel about 5 a.m, and had no clue of what happened within that time.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, and I was a blackout drinker.
Yeah.
I had plenty of those times. I just had a dream the other night that was like a nightmare to me because for some people, a dream being like disoriented and having this, just weird, dreamscape. A lot of people can describe a dream like that. But this one was specifically like I was in a blackout and coming in and out of a blackout. I knew that feeling really well. And woke up from it, and it was the most vivid dream I'd had in months. And it was like one of those ones I woke up and I was like, oh, thank God that was a dream. Yeah. Like it was scared the
I appreciate you sharing that. I think it's something that we don't talk about, and and we don't talk about it from a space of like, there's no shame around that. Like, my husband's been sober for 12 years, so it's near and dear to my heart. And I'm so proud of how he shows up for us because of that now. It's a whole new world. And as the years go by, I don't think I ever viewed him as an addict. Like he was my husband, he was my partner, he was my best friend, and he still is. But like now I've got this like really cool man that's around all the time and like awake and wants to learn and do stuff.
Yeah. And I'm doing things that I've never done before now.
And when he first got sober, he's like, what do you do when you don't drink? And I was like, I don't know. Let's go to the art museum. Like, that just seemed like the same. I was like, we can go to all the museums. That has to be like what cool people do that like aren't drinking.
Normal people do that, right? Yeah. I mean, there's been so many things that it's been like seriously growing up all over again now, because
it is like growing up all over. Your whole everything is clear and clean, and the vision, like, And
I've fought pretty hard to hold on to a lot of my old ways, and it's been really difficult to like let go of shit and learn new shit, and like learn that what I'm feeling isn't quite like what is real. And
I love that.
And feeling things that I've never even like actually felt because I numbed it for so long.
And then here you are creating this team in this space where you can bring that newness to life. Right? It's been
like, I mean, since I got sober, the level of work has improved. The quantity of work has like, I mean, literally, we've tripled. I mean, in sales, it was like.
That's so. Do you think that because you're, I don't know the right way, like it's proof, right? Like here, all of a sudden, you were given this opportunity to live a full life. And it's like, here it is. You're showing up finally in the way that you're supposed to. Here's the work.
Yeah, it was one of those things. Like I was never a religious person. I grew up in a Catholic home and did not like church. Yeah. Didn't like anything that had to deal with it. So when I started into the 12-step program I'm in, it's a one that's based on having a higher power, and that is totally unnatural to me. And so I started doing these things, but like having faith was one thing that was I tried to fight it, and then was able to kind of like let go of the old shit I was hanging on to and just start doing things that I was suggested to me to do. And I was like, well, how am I going to just do this based on faith? Cause like I need proof. Like, I feel like I'm one of those people, like I need proof of something. And then like literally less than a month after I got sober, like a big job came in. And then it just started rolling, and it's like, there's proof right there. Proof. That was my biggest thing, was like a financial worry.
There's so much proof in these four walls.
Yeah. It was just financial worry that was like, how is me going to meetings and like I'm praying in the morning gonna like pay my bills? And it's like, it's not a direct link there. And that's where.
But it is, but right? But it is, because like we are so connected to that, and like when we can just give it all up to say, I'm going to show up every day to live my best life, for myself, which then is for my wife, which then is for my kids, which then is for these men that show up to work with me. And like how it's just incredible. Like I always am in all of these conversations because we all risk it every day.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It grew so quickly at that point, because I don't think I would have sustained the madness of early sobriety that I was going through without there having been a tangible proof of something working, and that was sales, money coming in. And then it just got to the point where, I was lucky enough to get these other guys on, and it's just continued on that way.
Is your team built up of mainly restaurant guys?
All restaurant guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
New outlets for them.
Yes. New beginnings every day. Every day. For all of us, really.
I think that it's awesome too, because I'm sure then all of a sudden, I'm sure it's not 7 to 3. There's long days, there's long nights, but it's not, I'm sure, staying out until 3 a.m, closing down the restaurant.
Right. And we try to, use this opportunity too, is what we didn't have in restaurants. It's
Which is?
You need to go take care of something in your family. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You need to, you want to sleep in one morning because you were hanging out with the kids or whatever late or doing what, do it.
Yeah.
It's these guys work their asses off when they're here.
Yeah.
So, we get to now partake in the benefit of doing our own thing and doing it our way. And that's the stuff that we'd never had before.
I love that. And I completely agree. I love that when, I'm looking at my schedule and I'm like, oh, my kids are off for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I can actually schedule myself so that I'm home with them.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely without the worry of being let go, right?
Yeah.
That was always this pressure of oh no, I have a sick kid. Who do you call? How do you juggle that? It's our system is not set up for families on so many levels.
No, as much as any of these places I've ever worked for said that, oh, we're a family place. That's bullshit, because this is how you run a family business, where it actually does come first.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll get stuff done. I know you guys are going to be back and get stuff done. Right now, take care of what you need to take care of.
Well, and I always say that to our team too well, absolutely, there's a swing day. The most important thing is that the job gets done. Mm-hmm. And I trust you to do that.
Yeah.
And so in my trusting you to do that, that means that you can figure it out. I don't need to micromanage you.
Right.
This is the task.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you have created leaders.
Right.
Right? That's what I love is we have the opportunity as the owners to create leaders, not employees, but people who, I always am so motivated by people that leave the team because they're finally wait a minute, I've been working with you and watching how you do it. I'm ready to go do my own thing now. And I'm yeah, it works. Right. So here we are in your wood kitchen.
Yes.
What are you guys working on right now?
We are working on some seats for Pickled Pig.
I love Gare Bear.
Yeah, that's going to be a great looking place because they were savvy enough to choose all walnut, which we love walnut.
Yep.
So they're getting their seats, their countertops from us, tables. We're also working on Kiki, College Hill. They're full build out with their bar, tables, sliding door systems, and pretty much their whole build out. Let's see, what else we got around? Social OTRs tabletops, which is going to be an awesome place down in Findlay.
How is it? Oh, yeah. Yep.
So it's a new
workforce
training program. Yeah. Which is awesome. Cincinnati needs something like that too. Yep. I gotta start filling some.
There's lots of holes right now.
Yeah. And somebody is stepping up to do that, which I think is awesome. I've been in kitchens with guys who have talked about doing that kind of thing for a while, and it's great to see somebody actually doing it now.
Yeah. how is it when these guys that you've worked with for years hire you to build their places?
It's kind of funny sometimes. When I had our first meeting with Hideki Harada of Kiki in College Hill, met with him and his two of his architects, and we were talking about these banquette pieces that are going to be in a large radius banquette with angled backs. So it's a complex angle.
Yeah.
And he's like, how are you going to know how to do that? You know, and I was like, it's just geometry, man. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And he's like, he just laughs at me. He's like, dude, you're a cook. What the fuck do you know about geometry?
Right.
And I was like, dude, if you applied yourself to this kind of stuff, you could do it too.
Yeah.
Like if you can handle being in a restaurant and getting to the level that like we all got to, like it's just different things. Like the skill sets are the same. Like eye for detail, show up to work hard, you know, research some stuff if you don't know what it is, and then apply all that.
Yeah.
Like it's just applying knowledge, you know, and then, you know, and safety habits as well.
Yeah.
The knives in our shop spin a lot faster than any kitchen, so that's the biggest difference, really. But yeah, I think any chef who's worth their salt in a kitchen gets kind of like what I'm doing here and what we're all doing here, because like they all see that process and the technique, and like you know it's a creative thing, but it's a craft thing as well. Like you know, you really have to work at your craft and your technique to get these things done the right way. So I mean, a lot of the skills translate right over.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it's literally like you have a vision of what you're gonna make, right?
Like this table we're sitting at right now.
Yeah. So this table was something I worked with one of our clients who had a vision for what she wanted, you know, and sent me pictures, and I was like, all right, well, we can do this with it, and we can do this, you know, and you just work with what people want.
Yeah.
And then you have an end product, right? I mean, you could compare that to like writing a menu or writing a dish, a new dish. You know what you want on the plate. Okay. What are the ingredients we're going to put into that? And what are we going to do to those ingredients then to make them look like this, to make them feel like this, and all this stuff? I mean, it's like a recipe. Yeah. It really is, you know.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think that applies to so many things that creators do, right? Anything done well is probably, you're exactly right. It is a recipe. It's got the ingredients and the directions, and then it's execution. Yeah.
And that comes with just experience in doing it. Like anybody can read a recipe, but an experienced cook will nail that recipe, you know? And so that's why we're all here is, I mean, we're just getting reps in on doing this stuff and getting our experience up, so we could just keep trying to like level up onto the next thing, you know?
Goals for Cincinnati Wood Collaborative? Just keep building out. Do you love the restaurant side of it?
Yeah, we definitely love the restaurant side of it. I mean, because we're still big fans of this community, part of this community. Absolutely. Obviously. You know, all of our like friends are still in this, and there's a lot of great things going on.
Now you guys just get to go sit down and enjoy.
Yeah, we get to go there on the front end before there's like 100 other guests waiting for tables around you, and like, you know, doing that thing. I don't, you know, selling this stuff to the owners of a bar or restaurant or whatever is a lot different than like selling a steak to the 14th person at 7 o'clock on a Friday night. You know, I don't have to bullshit these guys. Like, hey, this is what it is. This is what you want. Like, we can do it. Here you go.
And you guys do house stuff too.
Yeah, we do residential stuff as well.
Okay.
So built-ins, cabinetry, custom furniture pieces, tables, benches.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
We're really excited too, because you jumped right at the opportunity to be a sponsor for us this year, which, you know, deepest gratitude. It's intimidating for me still years in. I mean, gosh, I've been doing this stuff for almost a decade, but we're putting a whole new thing out there, and it takes money to do that. And then when people, especially local people in our industry, are like, hey, I believe in what you're doing, I want to be part of it. So from Kitchen Convos team, it's because your dollars are allowing us to launch this YouTube station, really, because there's layers to it,
awesome.
you know? Yeah. And so we are really grateful to have you guys on board. And we had so much fun reading through all the ad copy and like getting it right. And we're really proud of these.
Oh, you should be. And that's, I mean, really, I think that has come, that kind of thing has come full circle with like my service in my sobriety and stuff now, where it's like, I need to start putting stuff out into the world better. And rather than like trying to get what I could, as a cook back then, it was just like, I was, trying to get what was best for me and stuff. Yeah. And now it's like, my big thing is like, sharing this and spreading it around and making like everybody around me, being able to do their thing better.
That's it.
Yeah.
That is so to me, such a powerful statement, because that is our jobs, right? But there's so much, when you come at it from like this space of humility and being humble, it adds just this big, beautiful layer to it, really, as crazy as that sounds. But like, you're absolutely right. All of a sudden we've been given this opportunity to be like, wait, we can align with people and places and things differently and give back and show up in a new way. And just support the people who are trying to do the same thing we are. Like, absolutely. I see what you're doing. I love it. Let's go. Yeah. Like I'm with it. That's awesome. We'll do our little special thing here. You do your little special thing here, and it's going to work out together, and we're going to make like this whole scene in Cincinnati just that much more vibrant. Yeah. I mean, I love like getting all idealistic about that kind of thing, but it's really happening. Like it's really happening in Cincinnati. Like it's really incredible. We are on such a different side of it. We don't have the storefront pressure, the restaurant pressure. But even through our incubator kitchens, right? Like we are welcoming people into our doors to help them every single day. Mm-hmm. And it's one of the coolest jobs I have. Oh yeah. That's an amazing organization. You just see people that are just like us, that want to risk it. Like they want to put it all on the line for an idea. Yeah. And you're just there to catapult it. It's awesome. Like, and you're like, I think back to like, I had my cheerleaders when I started, for sure. My mentors for Grateful Grams, but every day to be surrounded by people who are doing what you're doing, creating something and like busting your tail for it. Like I watch it every day. These guys that are just starting, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so much smarter than I was back then. Yeah, right? I'm like, that's so cool. Yeah, you're doing it right from the beginning. Right. Like, we and share all the things like, don't do this. I did that. Don't do that. Right. Yeah. And I've had conversations just with a few guys in the last week, people who we met from Design Build Cincy, who are just starting into like their own small business of, this maker or whatever sector. And I mean, I just had a talk with the metal guy last week, and he was, going over pricing, and I'm like, your prices are a little high, and he's like, well, I might be able to work with it, and he's like, I'm not really sure about my pricing. I'm like, dude, you're right where I was for the first, year and a half, 2 years. You keep massaging it until it's right. Yep. Like you just got to keep working at it. And like, I mean, I probably, damn near gave away some work for the first year or two to just get work, but now I think we've really hit our stride, and like all that stuff comes with experience of doing it. And like, that's so great that you guys have a place for these people to just jump right into an experience of doing it without the whole like $250,000 restaurant build out and everything, and jumping way deep into it. And I have guys that are incubating out, and I'm like, we're here. Just remember, we're here. Mm-hmm. I'm so glad Grateful Grams is still ran inside of an incubator kitchen, just knowing the full scope of overhead. Yeah. it's tough, you know? But yeah, and so you take somebody like Gary from the Pickled Pig, who's been with us for a few years and has just done it really slow and I think in a right way, especially a right way for him, right? Where he's just been able to do one layer of it at a time. And when this airs, he'll be in his new space officially. Yeah. But I mean, it's awesome. Like,
well, and he's putting in the work too, going to all those farmers markets and just constantly getting out there to
we don't talk about that. Like, you know, one of the conversations, like farmers markets, we need them. They're amazing. Local food makers need them. But I don't think that people who are shopping or who are running necessarily realize that these guys are buying all the food, or growing all the food, manufacturing the product, and then working, you know, I mean, they're
loading it up, setting it up to make it look.
If I never have to tear down a farmer's market booth again, I think I'd be all right.
All right.
I mean, but it's just true. We
or
did an event.
Dealing with the weather too, where it's just like you could be totally hit or miss because of that. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, the weather, if you're how specialty is your product, you know, I mean, there is, and he has definitely shown up in so many ways over the last few years. So yeah, a lot of love and respect to that guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's always fun to watch the whole process. So David, I love so much. Thank you on so many levels for kind of getting into your story in a new way, for having us out here to your space.
Yeah, thank you.
What are you grateful for?
Let's see. Today that I made it through another weekend of half working and half being there with the family, and grateful for my wife for dealing with me this weekend because it was one of my weekends where I wasn't in all the best mindset the whole time, and it just. It comes and goes and it happens, and like, you know, I'm just grateful we've got to the point where we can actually like deal with these things without me, you know, reverting back to a 13-year-old.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, but no, especially, I mean, too, for these guys to be here and believe in all the same things that we've been talking about. I mean, it doesn't. This thing would not be going on without, you know, these guys believing in the same thing. And I think everything up to this point from my kitchen career and what I've experienced with, you know, addiction and sobriety and everything has kind of culminated for me to be ready for something like this, you know.
That's awesome.
And it didn't make sense at all until I really just kind of started examining it and doing it, and, you know, really giving the kind of thought that something like this takes, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing your story with us, and you're absolutely right. And it's been really awesome to watch you start from cutting boards to seeing this happen. It's really cool, and you're exactly that person who's just kept showing up to work it and grow it in the way that it's meant to be.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's sometimes the best laid plans are the ones that you just keep showing up for, and then let them, they unfold right in front of you.
Yeah.
So,
and just figure out the best decision at the time and
work it.
That's it.
Sand those butts down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, them butt grooves got going on.
I told Gary I was going to sit in every single one of his seats before he, my butt touched every Pickled Pig seat.
Yes.
Hey. I am so grateful for these conversations and amazing people like David for stepping up and being a sponsor of Kitchen Convos. And I am so grateful for conversations where we are able to talk about all the pieces of our lives that build who and what we are creating. And I'm super excited to introduce you to David's team in this episode too, so that you guys get a glimpse into the movers and makers of Cincinnati Wood Collaborative.
Yeah.
you're on David's team. You're Sloan, the Sawhorse Cowboy, even officially on your business card, they said.
Yeah, it's true.
So what do you love about working at Cincinnati Wood Collaborative?
Well, I got to continue like working with Dave, which was wonderful first time through, and then through a series of serendipitous events, we're here now. But it's more just like working with my hands and being able to contribute to the community that I spent 17 years working with, you know, and I'm a transplant to Cincinnati. So
from?
Well, Nashville before this, Alaska before that, and then Northeast Ohio, all over the place.
Cool.
So it's just been a great transition into working with my hands and hopefully building canoes and stuff like that in the future.
Yeah.
That's the plan. That's what started it all. And then I remember telling Dave, 4 years ago now, like, I'll be working with you if you get all this rolling, and self-fulfilling prophecy, and
that's awesome.
We're here now.
Yeah. Do you miss being in the restaurants?
Not so much. No.
No. Sawhorse Cowboy does not miss that. No, I mean, right? Like,
I loved it for what it was worth.
Absolutely.
And it was great. And then I had kids, and
it's nice to be present in their lives.
Yeah, I didn't see him for 2 years, so it was great.
Cool.
Being able to do that. Thank you.
Yeah. Bob the beard. He said it's tucked nightly so that he doesn't lose his beard or his head on a.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were a restaurant guy?
Yeah, actually, I worked with Sloan and Dave at Metropole, at 21C.
Yeah.
Kind of walked in, no experience, begged for a job because I wanted to learn. They gave it to me. I started as a prep cook and didn't know anything. Like, I was a good cook at home, and I liked cooking, so they kind of helped me take it to the next level.
That's cool. Do you love being here?
Oh yeah. Working with Dave is awesome. So even when he's a sous chef in the kitchen, he's really good about like teaching you and learning. So.
What's your favorite part about doing this work versus being at the restaurants?
I think like they both touched on, like the freedom to, if you got something to take care of. I got 3 kids, so stuff pops up, I can just run out, take care of it, come back.
I love that you guys are all dads.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's motivation to, get home before 3 a.m. It's a hard life. It's fun. I love it. I was out of the kitchen for a while, went back to it because I loved it. And then this opportunity came up, and it's like, I can't pass it up because I could continue to learn stuff every day. It's great. It's just like the kitchen.
That's awesome.
It's dangerous, but
Yeah. Thanks, Bob. I walked in and you were sanding Gary's seats.
Yeah.
Look at these nice seats that will soon be at the Pickled Pig.
Yeah. Last week I scooped out all the butts, which sounds really weird, but
does your card say butt scooper?
No, mine says tree butcher. Because it's like a food thing, but it's a wood thing too at the same time.
Yeah.
That's why it's funny.
That is why it's funny. How is this for you?
I love it.
I probably know Andrew the best, and I don't even really know you at all, but we have done so many events and we're Facebook friends, and his cute kid is on there all the time, and his beautiful wife. So I just feel like I'm like Aunt Rachel or something from afar.
You did give her a bag of cookies the last time you saw her. So
anytime.
They're gone.
Good.
Now.
They should be,
She every day when she came home from school, she said, Dad, can I just have a cookie, please?
You're like, all right.
Yeah, give me one too.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Duh.
So, no, I've actually noticed a lot of like weird like corollaries between this and like the kitchen world.
Which are?
Well, just like, the most basic thing being that you're taking like a raw product and you're processing it and then you're turning it into something new.
Yeah.
It's just like over a greater span of time, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
Do you love it?
Yeah, I do.
Do you miss the restaurant?
I miss the people that I worked with, because that was like one of the things that I loved about the last 2 places I was at were Red Feather, and then before that Django, where actually I had a whole bunch of my staff from Django wound up working at Red Feather, like 8 or 9, maybe like 8-ish total. now there's even more though.
Wow.
But yeah, it was just like being able to kind of gather that like group of wonderful people was like, I think gave me a greater sense of pride than like anything else that I did in the kitchen.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fun to chat and be here and look at these beautiful seats you scooped.
Thanks.
Yeah. Anything else?
Glad you're here too.
Yay. It's fun. I think these conversations are so good, and I love to now see that you guys are all dads, and
yeah, we're all a bunch of total dads.
well, I think it's so critical. I talk to women about that. I mean, I had a team of moms for a really long time, and for men to be surrounded and supported by other men who are doing similar things, like it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Like we should credit that. And you are a very good male vocalist you have a daughter, but like you do use your voice a lot in that space. So.
Yeah, I try to. I think it's important that, I use my privilege from where I'm sitting to try to help other people who aren't as privileged as me. So
yeah, it's awesome. All right.